Greetings Exiles, BullShifter here with another Path of Exile tutorial video. Today I wanted to do a bit more in-depth coverage of gems and sockets. I did cover this briefly in my original tutorial video, but it's kind of embedded in the middle of that video. There's a few things I didn't really touch base on, so I'd just like to give a bit more of a clear explanation in a standalone video because I do feel like it's a very important part of the game, considering essentially this is how you're going to be attacking in the game, and these are one of the main things you're looking to loot. So on the subject of looting, there are multiple ways to get gems within the game itself. The first one obviously would be through enemies, which you would defeat throughout the game that would drop them just like they'd drop any other loot. Another way of obtaining these would be as quest rewards. Not quite as common, but you will get some gems through quest rewards throughout the game. Another way would be obviously trading other players for gems that you're looking for. And lastly, there's an NPC character that's in the first hub named Nessa, and if you go to her character, go to her shop by hitting triangle to purchase items, hit R2 to go to the second tab, you'll actually see there's a lot of gems here available for sale. Well, the nice thing about this is if you look at the cost down here, almost all of these are sold for either one scroll of wisdom or one orb of transmutation. So the price for entry here is super cheap, and there's actually some really nice gems in here that quite a few builds will actually use. Now when you're looking through here, there's actually a way to distinguish your spell/attack gems from your support gems. If you look up here, you kind of notice this kind of oval shard-like shape. These are all of your actual attack and spell gems, while these circular ones are your support gems. So there is a pretty easy way to distinguish them just from looking at them without even reading them. So something to kind of take note of, obviously you'll kind of want to look here first before attempting to trade any players for gems, just because this is going to be the cheapest way to obtain them. Now, in regards to attack and spell gems and support gems, we'll exit out of here. In order for a support gem to actually do its job and support your attack gem or spell gem, you're going to need a connection between the two gems. Now, a connection can be notated by that gold line. So as you can see here, these two blue gems they have a connection, so they will support one another. As opposed to here, now you'll see that these two green gems at the top have a connection so that they can potentially support one another. However, this one in the lower right hand corner that's just kind of floating by itself without that gold line, that means it doesn't have a connection. So none of the other gems on this item are going to do anything for that socket, and vice versa. It can't support any of those other gems, none of those other gems can support it. Now, also something to keep in mind is two attack gems or spell gems, they're not going to do anything for each other. Only a support gem will actually do something for an attack gem or a spell gem. So you can't put, say, two attack gems or two spell gems onto one item and expect the attacks to combine. That's not how it works. Only support gems will add effects or statistics to one of your attack or spell gems. So here's a great example. If we hit circle to look at the sockets, I have Firestorm and Combustion support. Firestorm, as you can see here from the actual description, it's a spell. It's AoE, it's duration, and it's fire. So just the fact that you can see spell there, you know that this is a spell/attack gem. It's level 3. Something else to keep in mind when you're looking at these gems is they do level up, and you don't actively have to be using the skill in order for it to level up with you. You just need to have it socketed into an item that you have equipped. Now, these gems I have down here in my inventory, these aren't doing anything right now. They're level 1, they will not level in my inventory. They would need to be socketed into one of my equipped items to actually level. Another thing to be aware of is that you can potentially over-level one of your gems. Now what I mean by that is As you level your gems, obviously the statistics of your gems will go up. Along with that, your requirements that you can see down here, it says required level 19 and 48 intelligence, that's going to go up as well. So say my character has a flat 50 intelligence right now. Now that's determined by my passive skills tree and my items. So these slippers right here are giving me a +5 to intelligence. Now if I have 50 intelligence on my character and I replace these with, say, some boots that don't have intelligence attached to them, I'm going to lose 5 intelligence. So that's going to bring my overall intelligence down to a 45. So I will no longer be able to use my Firestorm gem. Now there is a way around that. If you do accidentally switch your gear up or over level one of your gems, there is a crafter recipe that will actually de-level one of your gems. It would be one of your gems, and then there is a specific orb that actually helps you de-level items. So if you bring those to the crafter together, or the vendor, whatever you would like to consider them, that will actually de-level your gem just in case you ever do accidentally put yourself into that situation. So if you do overlevel one of your gems, don't panic, there are ways around it. I wouldn't recommend it, however, the option is there if it does happen. So let's go ahead and actually take the combustion support gem out of here, because I want to show you something super useful that's built into the game. So obviously, as I mentioned before, this gem is circular, it's a support gem. Now, how do you know when you can use a support gem with a certain attack or spell gem? Well, it'll say at the top what type of attacks it will support. See, it says supports any skill that hits enemies. So this support gem is going to support a lot of different gems. But if you want in detail which of your gems it will support and which ones it won't, when you hover over it, it'll give you a list of your active skills. And if it has a red X next to the little gem that's next to it, it's not compatible. It won't do anything with it, even if there is a connection between the support gem and that skill gem. Now, if there's a green check mark next to it, that means it'll actually reap that benefit. So Firestorm, if you look, it's 4 down. That one has a green check mark next to it. So when I socket it into this item, it is now supporting my Firestorm gem. So that's doing exactly what I want it to do. Now, in theory, because you can have up to 6 sockets on one item, you can have 1 skill gem and 5 support gems, all offering benefits to that skill. Now, the way you can tell that this is happening, so here's an item with 3 sockets. Now, all of these items have connections. Even this bottom blue item, since it's connected to that middle item, which is connected to the top, that blue gem would still offer support to that red gem. Now, when you're going to equip your active skills, those are all going to show up in the lower right-hand corner of your screen here. You can assign them to square, triangle, circle, X, and if you hold R2, you get 4 more options. So you can equip 8 in all. I would recommend keeping your attack still as the regular X, so that way when you're moving around, you're not actively performing one of your skills also by mistake. But you know, you can put a skill there as well. It's just, that's one button that's easy to instinctively press with another, but typically you're not going to have so many skills equipped to where you'll have to use that X anyways. But the option is there. So in order to switch these around, if you hit R3 and then use the right stick and hit X on the one that you want to change, it'll bring you to this screen. And you'll scroll across with your right stick, and you can actually choose which skill you'd like to place in which slot. Just hit X again, and that actually sets the skill. So now when I hit square, you'll be able to see that I will be using Firestorm. it'll actually give you the stats and everything that that skill actually does as well. So when you're equipping them, you know exactly what they're doing. So that pretty much covers exactly what your gems are going to be doing. Obviously, any questions, definitely feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer you as quickly as I can, but that should cover a majority of the basics behind skill gems, support gems, your actual sockets, and another thing to keep in mind, there are only 3 colors of gems, and they're all right here. It's red, green, and blue. And the color typically will correspond to which stat you need to level up in order to equip it. So red, as you can see, is strength, green dexterity, and blue is intelligence. So that's something to also keep in mind for when you're doing your skill tree for your passives, or you're looking for gear, is you're obviously going to want to have enough of those 3 statistics to be able to equip any sort of skill gems or support gems that you're looking to incorporate within your build. So that should pretty much cover it. Also keep in mind that you can use different orbs that you find within the game or craft within the game through vendor recipes to reroll the amount of sockets, the color of sockets, and the connections between those sockets. Typically you're not going to get to choose what they are, so you're going to want to stack those, but that's something you're probably going to run into when you find a really good item that you like, but maybe it doesn't have the sockets you need, the connections you need, or the socket colors that you need. And I will cover most of that in the next video that I'll be making, which will pertain to orbs, how to obtain each orb, and what each orb does. So again, just want to thank you for visiting the channel, watching these videos. I hope they've been helpful. Can't thank you enough for supporting the channel. The amount of support, it's been overwhelming in a really good way. So once again, just want to thank you all for coming, checking out the videos. So until next time, may the RNG be with you, always.